Hi there. Today I want us to consider what if creation is waiting for an awakened people. Romans tells us something extraordinary. For the earnest expectation of the creation eagerly waits for the manifestation of the sons of God. Most of us have been taught that this speaks primarily about a future event. When Christ returns, our bodies are redeemed and our creation is restored. But consider this. What if Paul is describing more than a distant future? What if creation isn't simply waiting for history to end? What if creation is longing for people who finally know who they are in Christ? Jesus tells us that the one who hears the word but doesn't live it is like a person who looks in a mirror, sees the reflection, walks away, and immediately forgets what they look like. What if that isn't just about obedience? What if it's describing humanity's state? We catch a glimpse of who we are, we see Christ, we hear the Father call us His beloved, and for a moment we remember. Then we return to the noise of the world. Fear replaces peace, performance replaces rest, scarcity replaces abundance, separation replaces union, and we forget who we are. But what if the gospel is more than the forgiveness of sins? What if it's the awakening of humanity to its true identity in Christ? Paul says we have received the spirit of adoption, not someday, now. He says we are heirs with Christ, now. He says our life is hidden with Christ in God, now. He says Christ is our life. Jesus prayed that they may all be one, just as you, Father, are in me and I in you. This isn't simply a promise for eternity. It's an invitation into present union. The finished work of Christ is not waiting to become effective. The cross accomplished everything necessary for our reconciliation with the Father. The resurrection inaugurated a new creation. We're not waiting for Christ to finish His work. We are awakening to what He has already finished. Perhaps that's why Paul spends so much time talking about the renewing of the mind, because the greatest prison isn't distance from God. It's believing we are distant from God. The Christian life is not about striving to become who God says we are. It's about awakening to who we already are in Christ. Most of us have been taught to live toward heaven. But what if Jesus was teaching us to live from heaven? He taught us to pray, "Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven." Paul says we are already seated with Christ in heavenly places. Not someday, now. Our true life proceeds from heaven. Our calling is to reveal that reality on earth. Jesus didn't react to earth. He revealed the Father. He lived from heaven. Perhaps that's what sons and daughters do. So maybe the manifestation of the sons of God isn't God deciding to reveal His children. Maybe it's His children finally believing what He's already declared. Imagine a people who no longer live as spiritual orphans, who no longer strive for acceptance because they know they are already beloved, who no longer define themselves by fear, failure, or lack, but by the Father's love, who live from rest instead of striving, from abundance instead of scarcity, from union instead of separation. Wouldn't creation recognize that? Wouldn't the world begin to see the image of God restored in humanity? The finished work of Christ is the whole feast. Everything necessary has already been accomplished. We're not waiting for God to do something more. We're awakening to what He has already done. As that awakening deepens, we increasingly live from the reality of heaven on earth. And one day, even our bodies and all creation will fully participate in what was already begun in Christ. The future is not the beginning of redemption. It's the full unveiling of a redemption that has been at work all along. Perhaps creation's not simply watching the calendar, waiting for the end of history. Perhaps creation is waiting for a people who finally remember who they are, who stop living from the illusion of separation and begin living from the reality of union, who manifest not themselves, but Christ. So consider this. If you truly believe that Christ's work is finished, if you truly believe that your life is hidden with Christ in God, if you truly believe that heaven is not merely your destination, but the reality from which you live now, how would that change the way you see yourself? How would it change the way you see others? And how might it change the world around you? Think about it. Consider it. Till next time.